Some endings do not come because people walked away. They come because Allah stepped in. You may think hearts separated because feelings changed, effort faded, or circumstances collapsed. But Islam teaches something far deeper. When Allah removes a connection from your life, it is never because He ignored your pain. It is because He saw a danger your heart could not see. You felt sincerity. You made du'a. You believed patience would fix what love had started. And then the door closed anyway. That moment confuses many hearts. They wonder how something that felt so real could be allowed to end. But Islam gives a clear answer. Not everything that feels right is meant to stay, and not every ending is a loss. When Allah separates two hearts, He is not breaking destiny. He is protecting it. What looks like heartbreak is often divine wisdom, arriving in a form the heart did not expect. Allah separates hearts when a connection weakens your submission. Not every relationship harms you in obvious ways. Some of the most dangerous ones feel gentle, calm, and emotionally comforting. Nothing looks wrong on the surface, yet something inside you slowly changes. You still pray, but your heart is no longer fully present. You still know what is right, but you start delaying it. What once felt non-negotiable slowly becomes flexible. You tell yourself it is temporary, that love requires compromise, that Allah understands. But this is how faith weakens quietly, not through rebellion, but through distraction. You begin to plan your day around a person instead of your prayers. Your energy goes toward maintaining the connection, while your worship becomes something you fit in later. You are not choosing sin, yet you are choosing comfort over discipline. Slowly, obedience stops feeling urgent. Boundaries start feeling inconvenient. The heart becomes busy with someone while becoming distant from Allah. This kind of change is subtle, but Allah sees it clearly. Allah does not wait until faith is shattered before He acts. He does not allow a bond to survive if it slowly pulls your heart away from Him. When submission begins to weaken, even in small ways, Allah intervenes, not with anger, but with protection. He separates hearts before attachment grows deeper, before excuses become habits, before delay becomes neglect. This separation is not a judgment on the other person. It is a decision about you. Allah values your relationship with Him more than any emotional connection you form. He knows that love, when it starts competing with obedience, will eventually demand sacrifices your soul was never meant to make. So Allah removes what threatens your submission, even if it hurts. Allah never allows love to replace worship. He never allows attachment to take priority over obedience. When a connection begins to change who you are before Allah, He corrects it. Because in Islam, love is meant to support your submission, not weaken it. And anything that slowly pulls you away from Allah, no matter how sweet it feels, is not meant to stay. Allah separates hearts when reliance shifts from Him to a person. When love is healthy, it brings warmth without taking control. But when reliance shifts, love slowly turns into something heavier. You begin to feel safe because of a person, not because of Allah. Your heart settles when they are near and becomes restless when they are distant. Your mood rises and falls based on their attention, their words, their presence. Without realizing it, your inner stability starts depending on creation instead of the Creator. This shift does not happen overnight. It grows quietly. At first, you simply care deeply. Then you begin to fear losing them. Soon, that fear becomes stronger than your fear of displeasing Allah. You start making choices to protect the connection, even when those choices weaken your principles. You tell yourself that this is love, but deep inside, the heart has leaned too far. Allah did not create your heart to rest on people. People change, leave, forget, and fail. When your heart begins to lean on something that can collapse, Allah steps in. Not to punish you, but to save you from building your peace on something unstable. Allah does not compete with people for your heart. He reclaims it. When Allah separates hearts at this stage, it is not because love was wrong. It is because reliance was misplaced. Allah wants your sense of safety, trust, and calm to come from Him first. Only then can you love people without fear controlling you. Only then can attachment remain balanced instead of consuming. This separation often feels unbearable at first because the heart had attached its peace to someone else. The pain you feel is the heart learning how to stand again without leaning. With time, you realize that Allah removed the dependency so your heart could breathe freely. You begin to feel strength where there was once fear, and stability where there was once emotional hunger. Allah separates hearts when reliance shifts, because He wants to return your heart to its rightful anchor. A heart that relies on Allah is not empty, it is strong. And when reliance is corrected, love becomes healthier, lighter, and safer. No longer a source of fear, but a gift that never replaces trust in Allah. Allah separates hearts that cannot carry responsibility. Not every connection fails because love is missing. Many fail because responsibility is missing. Words are easy. Emotions come naturally. Promises feel sincere in the moment. But responsibility is heavy, and not every heart is built to carry it. Allah separates hearts when He knows that what lies ahead requires strength, consistency, and sacrifice that one or both sides are not prepared to give. Some people love deeply, but disappear when effort is required. They enjoy closeness, but avoid accountability. They speak about the future, yet hesitate when real steps are needed. Love alone does not build stability. It does not protect, provide, or sustain. Allah knows that emotional attachment without responsibility leads to disappointment, confusion, and long-term harm. Allah does not wait for years to pass before exposing this imbalance. He separates hearts early so you do not build your life on intentions that cannot be fulfilled. This is mercy, because the pain of separation now is far lighter than the pain of realizing later that the person you trusted could not stand beside you when life became difficult. Responsibility in Islam is not only about providing or committing. It is about consistency, honesty, emotional maturity, and the ability to protect another person's dignity and faith. When a heart cannot carry these things, Allah does not allow it to hold yours. Separation in this case is not rejection. It is protection from instability. Allah saves you from carrying someone else's weight while neglecting your own well-being. He removes what cannot stand firm so that your future is not built on weakness disguised as affection. When Allah separates hearts that cannot carry responsibility, He is preserving your time, your trust, and your future. He is teaching you that real love is proven through action, patience, and reliability, not through words alone. Allah separates hearts when self-respect begins to shrink. Some relationships do not harm you by force. They harm you by slow erosion. Nothing dramatic happens, yet over time, you notice that you are not the same person you once were. You begin to accept behavior you once would have questioned. You stay silent where you once would have spoken. You adjust your standards, not because they changed, but because holding on to them feels like it might cost you the relationship. This is how self-respect quietly shrinks. You start excusing inconsistency. You explain away emotional neglect. You tolerate imbalance, telling yourself that love requires patience and sacrifice. But Islam does not teach love that drains dignity. Allah never asks a believer to remain in a situation where they must lower themselves to keep someone close. When a connection begins to chip away at your self-worth, Allah intervenes. He sees what you are slowly accepting, even when you convince yourself that you are being understanding. Allah does not allow love to humiliate His servants. He honors the believer too much to let attachment turn into self-erasure. Separation at this stage is painful because it forces you to confront how much you are enduring quietly. But it is also healing. Allah removes the source that made you doubt your worth so that you can remember who you are again. Your voice returns. Your boundaries become clear. Your heart begins to stand upright instead of bending to survive. This kind of separation is not Allah taking something from you. It is Allah giving you yourself back. Because in Islam, love is meant to strengthen dignity, not slowly wear it away. Allah separates hearts to prevent a future you cannot see. You see what is in front of you. Allah sees what is coming. This is the difference that explains many separations. What feels good now may lead to harm later. What feels manageable today may become unbearable tomorrow. Allah separates hearts because He knows where the road leads, even when you are standing at its beginning. Some connections would have turned into constant tension, emotional exhaustion, or quiet resentment over time. Some would have required you to compromise your peace, your values, or your faith little by little. But because you could not see that future clearly, Allah ended the path early. This is not cruelty, it is protection. Often, people ask why something ended when it seemed workable. The answer is that Allah does not wait for damage to become permanent. He prevents pain before it becomes too deep to heal. A wound now, though painful, is far lighter than years of regret, bitterness, or spiritual loss. This kind of separation feels confusing because nothing obvious was broken yet. But Allah does not act only when things collapse. He acts when He knows collapse is coming. What you experience as sudden loss is often Allah quietly steering you away from a future that would have drained you emotionally and spiritually. With time, clarity arrives. You begin to see what you were saved from. You recognize the patterns, the signs, the struggles that would have grown heavier. You realize that Allah did not take something good from you. He removed something that would not have remained good. Allah separates hearts to prevent futures you cannot see, because His mercy is not limited to the present moment. He protects you not only from pain today, but from pain you were never meant to carry tomorrow. Allah separates hearts to break unhealthy attachment. Not every attachment is love. Some attachments quietly turn into emotional captivity. You think about the person constantly. Your peace depends on their response. Your happiness rises and falls with their attention. Without realizing it, your heart starts revolving around someone instead of standing firm on its own. This is not deep love. This is loss of balance. Allah did not create the heart to be controlled by another human being. The heart was created to be free, steady, and connected first to Him. When attachment becomes excessive, when it begins to consume your thoughts, weaken your focus, and control your emotions, Allah intervenes. He separates hearts not to remove love, but to remove slavery. Unhealthy attachment often feels intense, even beautiful at first, but over time, it drains you. You lose clarity. You lose emotional strength. You start living in fear of loss rather than trust in Allah. Allah does not want you loving from a place of desperation. He wants you loving from a place of strength and balance. Separation at this stage is deeply painful because it forces the heart to stand alone again. The silence feels heavy. The absence feels unbearable. But this pain has a purpose. It retrains the heart. It teaches you that your worth is not dependent on someone else's presence, and your peace is not meant to be borrowed from another human being. Through separation, Allah teaches you how to love without obsession, how to care without losing yourself, and how to hope without clinging. When the heart learns this lesson, love becomes healthier. It no longer controls you. It no longer defines you. It becomes something you can give freely without losing your center. Allah separates hearts to break unhealthy attachment because He wants your heart strong, not trapped. Free, not consumed. And once the heart is free, it can love in a way that brings peace instead of fear. Allah separates hearts when peace never arrives. Allah's plans are not built on constant inner chaos. What He writes carries calm, even when it is difficult. There may be tests, disagreements, and effort, but underneath it all, there is a steady sense of peace. When peace never arrives, when a connection is filled with anxiety, restlessness, and emotional tension, Allah does not call that destiny. Some relationships keep you in a constant state of worry. You overthink every word. You fear the next change. You feel emotionally exhausted even when nothing openly wrong has happened. Your heart is always unsettled, always alert, always unsure. This is not the peace Allah places in what is meant to remain. Allah does not ask the believer to live in confusion for years and call it patience. There is a difference between enduring a test and remaining in a situation that steadily drains your inner calm. When a bond requires constant emotional effort just to feel stable, Allah intervenes. Separation in this case is not failure, it is relief. Allah removes what keeps your heart restless so that tranquility can return. Often, people realize after separation that the heaviness they carried for so long disappears. The heart finally breathes. Sleep becomes easier. Prayer feels lighter. The mind becomes quieter. Allah separates hearts when peace never arrives because His mercy includes emotional safety. What is written for you may challenge you, but it will not keep your soul in constant unrest. And when Allah removes a connection that steals your peace, He is restoring something far more valuable than what was lost. Allah separates hearts to realign you with what was always meant. When something ends, the heart often believes it lost what was meant for it. But what is truly written for you cannot miss you, and what misses you was never written to stay. Allah does not separate hearts to confuse you. He separates them to realign you with the path that was always intended, even if you stepped onto a different one for a time. Some connections enter your life to teach you, not to remain with you. They awaken you, test you, soften you, or redirect you. Once their purpose is fulfilled, Allah removes them, not because the bond was meaningless, but because it had already completed its role. Holding on to it longer would have delayed what was truly meant for you. At the time of separation, this wisdom is hard to accept. The heart focuses on what ended, not on where it is being guided. But slowly, doors begin to open that would never have opened if that connection had stayed. You grow in ways you could not before. You see yourself more clearly. You return to Allah with deeper trust and understanding. Allah does not subtract without intention. He does not empty your hands without preparing them to receive something more fitting. What is meant for you will align with your faith, your values, your peace, and your growth. It will not require you to lose yourself or drift from Allah to keep it. One day, you will look back and realize that the separation was not an ending. It was a correction. Allah was not taking love away from you. He was guiding your heart toward what truly belongs with it in this life and the next. When Allah separates two hearts, it is never because He was unaware of your tears or indifferent to your pain. He saw the nights you struggled, the prayers you whispered, and the hope you held on to quietly. Nothing ended without His knowledge, and nothing ended without purpose. What you lost was never taken lightly. It was released with wisdom. Do not measure Allah's care by what He allowed to leave. Measure it by what He refused to let destroy you. Some endings are not losses, they are rescues. Some separations are not rejection, they are redirection. Allah closes doors not to punish the believer, but to guide them away from paths that would have cost them their peace, their faith, or their future. Trust the One who sees what you cannot see. Trust that what left was never meant to carry you forward. And trust that what is written for you will arrive without anxiety, without humiliation, and without forcing your heart to break itself just to hold on. If Allah separated the hearts, it is because He is preparing something that fits you better, protects you deeper, and leads you closer to Him. And when that understanding finally settles in your heart, the pain will soften and gratitude will take its place.